What if Trump's plan to buy Greenland actually triggered World War III? This isn't clickbait, this isn't satire. This is a scenario rooted in real political moves, buried documents, and a geopolitical time bomb ticking silently under the world's largest sheet of ice. And the closer you look, the more terrifying it becomes. In 2019, the world watched as then-President Donald Trump floated the idea of buying Greenland. People laughed, late-night hosts turned it into punchlines, the press shrugged it off. But behind the cameras, military analysts didn't laugh. They leaned in, because Greenland isn't just ice. It's a fortress, a vault, a strategic gold mine positioned directly between North America, Europe, and Russia, making it a crown jewel of global military supremacy. And beneath that frozen surface, rare earth metals, the same materials used in advanced weapon systems, satellites, AI processors, and the future of warfare. In Trump's first term, the deal was shut down. But what if that was just the beginning? What if, in his second term, Trump didn't ask this time? What if he took it? The chain reaction starts quietly. First, a classified US satellite loses contact for 14 minutes while passing over Greenland. Then, a military-grade data cable running under the Arctic is severed by what experts only call an unknown vessel. And then, within 48 hours, Reykjavik goes dark. Iceland's power grid collapses. NATO scrambles a response. China moves naval units into the Arctic corridor. Russia activates dormant missile silos in the north. All eyes turn to one place: Greenland. Because here's the truth the media buried for years. The US already has military bases on Greenland, but control, ownership, that changes everything. And Trump, now in power again, greenlights a quiet but aggressive push to acquire full access to Greenland's mineral and digital infrastructure under the guise of a joint development pact. Except no one agreed to it. Denmark refuses. The EU threatens sanctions. China accuses the US of resource theft. But the US isn't backing down, because the Pentagon knows something the public doesn't. They've seen the data. Greenland's ice is melting faster than predicted, and with it, access to resources buried for millennia. Oil, lithium, cobalt, enough to power the next century of machines or weapons. And Trump isn't just thinking about land, he's thinking about leverage. If he controls Greenland, he controls the Arctic. If he controls the Arctic, he controls global trade. And if that happens, every nation either complies or prepares for war. But the other superpowers, they won't wait to be cornered. China deploys cyber drones to the Norwegian Sea. Russia announces emergency Arctic military exercises. The EU invokes a dormant clause in its security charter. You already know how this plays out, because you've seen what happens when nations fight for oil, for land, for power. But this time, it's different. This time, it starts in silence. No bombs, no warnings, just darkness. One night, cities go dark. New York, Toronto, London, just flickers, then failure. Power grids collapse, communications halt, submarines vanish from radar, satellites misfire, and in that moment, no one knows who struck first. Was it Russia reacting to a US land grab? Was it China defending access to Arctic data cables? Or was it a coordinated US blackout designed to destabilize before the first shot? No one claims responsibility, because no one needs to. The war has already started, and the terrifying part? Most people won't even know it's happening until it's over. Because while the world watches Taiwan, the Middle East, and the dollar collapse, the real trigger is sitting beneath 2,000 feet of ice, wrapped in global treaties, military secrets, and one man's obsession with power. Donald Trump, back in office, back in command, and back on a mission that no one can stop. Now here's the twist that'll keep you up tonight. According to leaked NATO logs, in early 2025, an encrypted US Arctic division reported unusual seismic activity. Not natural, not geological. The code GL31 thermal burst. Confirmed signature, subterranean translation, something is drilling beneath Greenland. But it wasn't Denmark, and it wasn't Russia, it was us. You can already feel what that means, because you've heard this kind of story before. You just didn't think it would happen here. But Greenland isn't just the next battleground, it's the match, the kindling, and the spark has already been lit. So ask yourself, what happens when your phone won't turn on? When every ATM says error? When your country can't connect to satellites, but warships are docking on frozen shores? That's not science fiction, that's week one. And the worst part, there's no reset button, no election cycle to undo what's been set in motion, no single man who can stop the weight of a world that's quietly collapsing beneath diplomacy, denial, and melting ice. Because when everything is hidden beneath classified memos, secret drills, and deniable operations, there's no official start to a world war, just a series of quiet events, until it's too late to reverse them. The headlines still talk about inflation, social media still argues about pop stars, but beneath the surface, power is shifting, not with noise, but with silence. And Greenland? It was never about land. It was about control. Control of rare metals, control of military airspace, control of the last untouched digital artery connecting the Western world. You see, Trump didn't need the world's approval. He needed a distraction. And while the world was watching everything else, he made the move. Military analysts now believe that if war does break out, it won't start in the South China Sea. It won't start with Iran. It won't start with missiles. It'll start with silence. The first shot of World War III may have already been fired, and the world never heard it. If that made you feel something, you already know what to do.